Hello everybody, and welcome to the Digital and Social Summit 2025. The summit is powered by We Are Social, and it's inspired by our Global Digital Report series that was read, referenced, or downloaded more than 20 million times if we consider just last year alone. So it's a huge and crucial marketing tool that we are coming up with year after year. We Are Social is a global socially led creative agency with unrivaled social media and influencer marketing expertise and capability. And with more than 1,200 of people, we deliver every day a global perspective to our clients in a time when social media, we know that, is really shaping the world we are living in and the culture. So this is us. I am Mirko, Group Account Director here in We Are Social Milan. And today I have the pleasure and the privilege to share the stage with Michael, that is a Senior Director, Brand and Marketing in Rome for AS Roma. So Michael, I want to thank you because we do know that your agenda is quite busy in this moment. I mean, generally, but it's super busy in this part of the year facing the final part of the season. So thank you for being here today.
No, of course. Thank you so much, Mirko. It's good to be with you.
Okay, thank you again. The talk that we are going to present today is about going beyond and about how social media can go beyond performances, gathering together performances and brand awareness and brand building, gathering together culture and commerce. In a few words, how to go beyond performances and how social media can drive brand value. So the presentation and the talk is divided in two parts. The first one is more related, as we mentioned before, to the Global Digital Report, and we will try to highlight a challenge that marketers and brands are facing at the moment. And we are going to use the second part to have a chat with Michael about a campaign that we ran together last year for AS Roma that, in our opinion, is a perfect way to find a solution to the challenge we are going to discuss in a few minutes. So let's start from the first part. Let's start from the challenge that marketers had to face in this moment. Let's say that due to the economic situation and the crisis, basically the marketing budget are being squeezed and reduced over and over again. This is not something mind-blowing. We always have, and obviously we have data saying that, but it's something that is pretty obvious and that everyone who is working in our industry is fully aware of. The fact is that in this situation, brands and marketers are forced, let's say, to choose whether to use the money and the budgets to work on short-term tactical activities in the lower funnel, maybe to have an ROI that is really measurable for the success of the strategic activities, or to use those budgets and those money on the upper funnel, on the brand equity side, with a more, let's say, long-term vision. So the general trend was, and data once again is showing it, to favor short-term results in what we decide to name the dollar-to-dollar era, where performance and performance-driven marketing has taken the lead over other strategy more focused on brand equity and brand building. And if you think about it, this attitude is not just valid for marketers and in the marketing field, is an attitude that can be applied also to common users, because today we are favoring apps and engagement patterns based on real-time performances and instant reward system. Like app like Temu, for example, are a clear example of this trend, which is in fact a broader trend rather than a trend just focused in the marketing industry. And in this scenario, in this landscape, social media is obviously an excellent tool in terms of combining performances and social behavior, because they are able to do that, basically. And this is also clear if we look at the evolution of the platform themselves, like TikTok with TikTok Shop, that is a way to include conversion directly in the platform usage. So now, in this situation, it is okay, but we see a very significant hidden risk, the so-called doom loop. That is a sort of, let's say, a vicious cycle, a vicious circle, where reducing investment from the upper funnel, from brand equity, ends up devaluing the performance strategy in a sort of never-ending process. So this is the bad news. This is the problem, but we want to come up with a solution as well. And the solution lies in what we call the bothism. The bothism is the way. What is the bothism, in our opinion, is the chance and the ability to work at the same time on both performances and brand building. And data shows that the brands that are able to do that, to set this approach, this marketing approach, are not just improving real-time performances, but they are also preparing a huge advantage for the next future. And this is obviously extremely relevant when we talk about social media, because as a matter of fact, social media and social platforms are spaces where people have this balance, where you go to see entertainment and to find entertainment and to be engaged by brands and by content creators, but at the same time you go there to see to seek information, to find information about products and services to buy. So bothism it's a marketing strategy for sure, but it's a marketing strategy that is on the same page of the habits of the people who is leaving those platforms. So let's go to the second part of the talk, and we want to present a campaign that we realized with Michael for AS Roma and with AS Roma that was, in our opinion, a wonderful way to combine upper and lower funnel. We are going to see the video case history of the campaign, and then we are going to highlight a couple of, let's say, key ingredients of the campaign that was able to make the campaign so effective and so successful. The campaign is called Non si può spiegà. It was a campaign focused in the seasonal ticketing for the next year. Let's see the video case history.
Football clubs are becoming international brands for an international audience. In doing so, they tend to forget the most important thing. They represent a city and its local supporters. It's true everywhere, but it's even more true in Rome. The club needed a season ticket campaign able to strengthen the bond with the Romanisti. So we asked the supporters directly what it means to support AS Roma at the Olimpico.
Come te lo posso spiegare? Aiutami a dire.
E poi quando comincia l'inno
But literally, no one gave us a clear answer because it simply can't be explained. Or, as a Romanista would say,
non si può spiegare.
That's why we turned this undefinition used by fans into the official line of the campaign.
Da vedere a Roma allo stadio è...
A video with real speechless Romanisti.
Quando segna a Roma è un'emozione. Come fai a spiegarlo?
Oh, e non si va a spiegare!
And billboards with real undefined images. Because the only possible answer is the Olimpico atmosphere. The campaign instantly became a conversation, a common expression, a lot of memes, and a lot of great results. But most of all, fans loved it and answered in the best way. The best result since 2002. And that was the year after AS Roma won the Scudetto, a success that...
Okay, we want to present this campaign as the best of the two worlds, the culture and the commerce, and how a single piece of communication can gather these two souls and these two dimensions in a single creativity. What was the killer application of this campaign? From our point of view, it was the choice not to choose between culture and commerce. In other words, the ability to bring these two part of the funnel together in a single piece of communication. I just want to highlight 3 key ingredients, and then we are moving in the Q&A session with Michael, understanding his point of view, the brand point of view about the campaign and about the challenge that we mentioned before. The first key ingredients was a strong local inside. I mean, are you able to name stadiums or clubs where away fans can't wait to see the anthem or the atmosphere, shooting content and posting content on social profiles? Liverpool for sure with You'll Never Walk Alone, maybe the Boca Junior in La Bombonera, and definitely AS Roma. And this is, for example, a video going viral that went viral, showing 2 Swiss journalists having let's say goosebumps at the Olimpico during the pre-match anthem that is Roma, Roma, Roma. This is a video went viral that shows us that this is a local insight, very, very community rooted, but is universally understandable by anybody that is into the football community. The second key ingredient was a community-first approach, to be able to include real people. We involved real people and real fan to, let's say, have somebody able to explain something that we cannot explain in words. We have a fun fact in this slide because the out of home that you see below include one of our colleagues. He's not supposed to be part of the campaign. He's a Romanista for sure, obviously, but he was so into the match at the stadium that became one of the output of the campaign. And this is a proof of how strong and powerful it is to be able to involve real people in a creativity. Last but not least, this was a campaign that was layered to work along the funnel. So, okay, hero video, okay, out of home, but also merchandising and fan engagement to give a sort of second life to the campaign and to have a huge amplification working along the whole funnel. This was a wonderful campaign made by We Are Social together with AS Roma. And now we are going to discuss the campaign and also the challenge and the bothism, as we decide to name it, with Michael, that I want to thank again for being here. So, Michael, it's our time. I want to start with a question that is really related to the bothism that we mentioned before. We talk about the tension between the culture and commerce. What role do social media play in this for AS Roma and also in the overall communication of AS Roma?
So it's the word tension is really, really good, I think, in that question. It's social media, it goes without saying that it's a huge, huge platform for us to grow our brand and to grow our the products that we produce. But I think for us, the culture part of that tension is really, really important. You just explained there what it means for our fans to be in Stadio Olimpico. You know, living in this city and meeting neighbors and friends and fans of the club, they find it hard to explain to you what it is about this club that they love so much. And for many of our fans, the club is an heirloom. It's something that is handed down to them. You have no choice but to be a Romanisti. And so that is a key aspect of our brand strategy, to make sure that everything that we do, we are reflecting back to our fans, our understanding of what that passion means and the authenticity of their fandom for us. So our activities always have to act as a mirror, and that's a key kind of part of the culture portion. In terms of commerce, you know, we have a huge ambition, obviously, to grow our brand and to grow our revenues. And so we're in this interesting balance between respecting our fans, but also extending what it means to be Romanisti and pushing our brand further outside of Italy. I think that our communication strategy is trying to find that clear balance between the two. And for us, it means telling stories that resonate with our fans. It's telling stories that our fans can see and see themselves in. And this campaign was a perfect example and a perfect culmination of all of that. Something that a fan who lives in this city that could live somewhere in Testaccio can see and say, this is my club. This is something that I recognize. But at the same time, someone who lives in London or Paris or Washington or somewhere else can see, oh, there's an interesting story here that I can resonate with.
Okay, thank you very much. And a very different question, because the campaign was actually a pitch initially, and we are pretty used to discuss and to talk about the creative process. We are not so used about, let's say, discuss and present the decision-making process. So the question is, what was the thing that convinced you to, okay, let's go for it, when the idea was presented to you?
So you're right. It was a pitch, and from memory, we had 4 different agencies that we were looking at, and we worked pretty hard on the brief. We were quite clear with what we wanted to do. Our primary objective was very much about the fans that live in this city. It's a season ticket campaign. 95% of the people that are going to buy our season ticket live somewhere in this city. So that was a key part of the brief. The second portion was to make it a brand campaign also, not just a hard-nosed sell season ticket campaign, but how do we tell the story of us and of our fans? And we had lots of different, options to take a look at. But I think that We Are Social really understood the brief that we were going for. And the linchpin for us was very much Non si può spiegare. I think that line worked on so many levels for us. For our English-speaking audiences, it means it can't be explained. And it's interesting because for our core fans, having a campaign that uses that line means that the club understands their fandom and understands their passion. It's something that it's not just unique as an Italian word, but it's unique to Roma specifically. So for our fans, when we saw the response from the agency and we saw that line, and we translated it, for a foreigner like myself, it made perfect sense. And then looking at the way that we told the story with our actual fans in locations within the city that our fans will recognize, it meant that from an outsider's perspective, you can see it and be interested in the story, like the video you just played, seeing hardcore fans struggling to define what it means to be a fan of Roma. For us, it hit perfectly the sweet spot of what we were trying to do. And that duality that you mentioned of culture versus commerce.
You mentioned so many times fans and fan engagement. Were there any fan reaction or feedbacks that particularly struck you after the launch of the campaign?
I'm going to be really boring and say it's the line again. It really is the Non si può spiegare, because I think that because it's such a unique phrase in Italian and it's distinctly Romana phrase in Italian, the reactions that we have from fans was, oh my goodness, this is exactly how I feel about this club. Without a doubt, at some point, when a fan is not going to mass, for example, but they're going to Stadio Olimpico, and a friend asks them, what is it about Roma? They've struggled to be able to deliver it. And that line was basically just the answer. And we saw some of that from the campaign, fans kind of reacting to that and feeling that as a club, we understand, the passion that they offer us. those were some of the best reactions that I saw. I think also the old lady at the end was a very, very key feature. You know, that pure emotion of no se può spiegare, I think resonated with a lot of fans as well, for sure.
That was not actually in the first storyboard that we came up with. If you remember, it was a sort of live scene we record.
Well, I remember seeing it, the first cut of the video, and I didn't remember it from the storyboard correctly. I was like, this is brilliant. This is absolutely perfect, and it's a perfect end to the video for sure.
Okay, we are talking so much about culture, about being able to include fans, but this is a seasonal campaign, seasonal ticketing campaign. So what did success look like for you before airing the campaign, and maybe also the definition of success changed once the campaign was on air?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, our primary goal was to sell, season tickets, and for sure we were very, very successful in doing that. We sold 40,000 season tickets in just over 2 weeks, which is remarkable, and a remarkable statistic. The video got over 2 million views, and so in terms of the metrics that we set for ourselves in the brief, we checked all of that, and those were the primary objectives we're looking for. But to your question, after the campaign, something that personally kind of struck me was we've had internal conversations about the balance between being local and true to our fans that I keep mentioning, and also this desire to expand our brand to the rest of the world. This campaign for me was a perfect example that you don't have to pick one or the other. To borrow the term that you're using, boathism, which I like, you don't have to pick one or the other. You can find the balance between both very, very well. And that was an unintended success for the campaign. This ability to speak to fans who are in this city, but also tell interesting and compelling stories to people who are outside of the city as well. So for us, that wasn't an objective we had as part of the brief, but for sure something that helped to cement our own perspective on where we want to kind of take our brand.
Yeah, and also having a T-shirt with that an hashtag, it's a perfect way to measure success and to see people wearing your own campaign and your own creativity is very rewarding also for us. And the final question is maybe more personal, and it's out of my curiosity. What's the best thing and also the most challenging one in working for a club so peculiar like AS Roma?
It's a good question. So I think for me, what I've found working here, and I have a unique perspective because I'm originally from London, it's the people that I work with that is the best part about this club. There are some people who've worked here for many, many years who they live and breathe AS Roma. They're incredibly passionate about this club and what they do. And it's very rare that you can work for a company, a club where, the people you work with, they know everything about the club. They know what it means to be a supporter. I've worked for lots of businesses in the past, and, you have a very, kind of abstract idea of the product you're working on or the brand that you're working on. But to work at Roma, you have people who know this club so well, they love this club so well, and they're driven by that. That for me is rare, and it's one of the best things I love about the club. In terms of a challenge, I think that one of the things that we're constantly working on to do is how we tell our story in the most compelling way. This campaign, as I mentioned, was almost like the perfect acid test to say, okay, this is how we can do it. We are a huge, iconic club, and we've got so many stories that exist within the four walls of this club that many people outside of Roma don't know about. And the challenge for us is how we can package that to the rest of the world, how we can export what makes this club so magical, what makes someone like me from London fall in love with Roma. What is that story about? And that's the tricky thing that we're constantly working on.
Mike, thank you for being with us today, and thanks for your availability and to have shared your story as well with us. I want to thank everybody that was attending the talk. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for all the other events into the Digital and Social Summit powered by We Are Social. Thank you very much, Mike, and
Thank you very much. Thank you,
everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.